Welcome to the White Sox Recap Podcast. I am Ryan McGuffey. Well, the White Sox, as we record this, are still in first place. However, it's looked a little bumpier this week with a couple of duds in the Bronx against the New York Yankees, exposing a problem that, quite frankly, has been apparent for a little bit of time now. White Sox need some pitching reinforcements if they're going to be in a division race into August and September. And I think it's fair to say, with all of the optimism that we've had, both from team performance to crowd resurgence and to our excitement here on the podcast, I think it's here to stay, at least for 2026. Now it's up to Chris Getz and company to go make it happen. What does that look like? Reinforcements from within? Reinforcements from the outside? Probably a little bit of both. Brian Anderson joins me. He's back here in studio on this edition of the podcast as we sift through what the options might look like and what they could be, and the heavy price to pay with a surprising name, a really good name coming from Brian Anderson. Plus, Colson Montgomery, the sixth fastest player in the history of baseball to reach 40 home runs. Think about that. The sixth fastest and the fastest White Sox ever to do so. Incredible, incredible stuff from the power hitting shortstop on the South Side. This podcast comes with a little audio dip and an audio issue that I'm just getting in front of here and letting you know. If it sounds different, well, we put it in the old surgical data, and whatever came out, came out. Thank God we at least saved this edition of the podcast. So we apologize for the audio mishap. It does sound a little off mic, and we're getting it out there, staying ahead of the warts and all. Got a lot to talk about on this edition of the White Sox Recap Podcast when Brian Anderson joins me, and it starts right now. Brian Anderson back on the podcast. Ryan McGuffey right here with you. Always good to see you here in studio. BA, look, there's been excitement, right? Hoodie and I got together last week. We had to do two pods because you had the Braden Montgomery call up. You had the White Sox doing what they did against the Braves and Dodgers at home. You get the Yankees in New York, and then the Yankees are doing what the Yankees do to a lot of clubs, and that's hit a lot of home runs, and that's without Aaron Judge. But it's more about what the White Sox have done from a starting pitching standpoint. Davis Martin, Anthony Kay, their two best pitchers get roughed up pretty good in New York. The sky isn't falling. Okay. The White Sox were probably due for a couple of duds, certainly at least one dud. I wouldn't say it's alarming what we've seen in New York, but is telling if the White Sox are planning to be in the mix in August and September. And I think both of us believe at this point they will be.
Yeah, I mean, what a great way to see where you're at as an organization. It's like, okay, let's see if you're the real deal, because in the playoffs, you're going to have to go through New York, most likely, if you want to go to the World Series, especially. But you want to find out how good your team is. That's measuring up against the best. And you have to go to New York and beat them. And, the White Sox are a very good team. I think they far surpassed the projections that we all had. I mean, shoot, I thought I was going high end with 80.
Yeah.
And it's great. White Sox fans are great, aren't they? I mean, you sit there and you're like, hey, we're probably going to not be very good this year. Wait a minute, we are good. We lost 2 to the Yankees. It's over. So, I mean, you look at some of the expectations some of these fans have, pretty unrealistic. But hey, you got another chance to take one. If you can go out of New York and not get swept, I think that's a huge win.
Well, here's the thing about expectations. They can change. I think expectations for the 2026 White Sox have now changed. You hear from national reporters that the White Sox do plan to be, quote unquote, aggressive at the trade deadline. I don't know really what that looks like. And that's what I want to talk about with you, because it's very clear that the White Sox need pitching, and specifically starting pitching. Guess what? Get in line, because every contending team, that includes the Yankees, are going to be looking for what? Reinforcements, both starters and relievers at the deadline. I find it funny, or interesting maybe, that you look at the two starting pitchers for the Yankees in the first 2 games of the series, and it was Garrett Cole and Carlos Rodon, who have $400 million combined in contracts. And it's the haves and the have-nots. Now, is that an excuse? No. I mean, the White Sox
offensively did a couple of things, more so against Carlos Rodon. They got traffic. Colson hit the big 3-run homer to bring it within a game, but they just didn't have enough bullets both in the starting rotation and the bullpen. And I guess here's what I'm going to ask you. And I have some stats. You know I always have stats.
Nerd.
Okay. I think it's fair to say that the White Sox put this team together with the expectation that they would not be a year early, that they would not be sitting here in first place in mid-June, looking at the rotation that they went into the season with. When you look at the veterans they acquired, Anthony Kay, which is a reclamation project from Japan, and Eric Fetty, which is a reacclimation project because they already did it a couple of years ago, I was clamoring for somebody more stable, somebody more of an innings type eater. I think it's fair, and I want to ask you this, that maybe the front office is saying, okay, like the prove it point, they've proved it. We're almost halfway through the season as we record this, and the White Sox are tied for first place with Cleveland. So now it's up to the front office, and Chris Getz has publicly been saying this the last couple of weeks, that now they need to go and add to this clubhouse and add to this team and let them have a shot to go out and prove it even more.
You know, we talked about the White Sox salaries, right, as a unit preseason, the last couple of seasons. They're not big spenders. The White Sox, I've dubbed them this year, they're ballers on a budget, right? They're going off and they're doing really well without spending a ton of money. Now, I think because they budgeted so well and they were able to keep the payroll at a minimum, they could be bigger buyers. But I will say, like you brought up a great point. Let me warn you, for every guy they're going to go get at the trade deadline to try to help piece this thing together down the stretch, you better believe that the LA Dodgers and the New York Yankees of the world and the Atlanta Braves of the world are going to go get themselves a Sonny Gray type pitcher, a Blake Snell guy, like that type of an impact guy. You look at these guys at the mid-tier, like White Sox need a number 3, or they need a back-end bullpen guy, whatever that case may be. But you look at some of these bigger name teams like the Yankees, they're going to re-up too. They're going to strengthen themselves up too. So the White Sox need to be more than aggressive. They need to probably go get 2 or 3 pieces instead of just 1 or 2. I think they got to err on the side of being more aggressive than less aggressive.
So I want to talk about what that looks like, because here are the White Sox stats from a starting rotation. Now, granted, the opener that they use, they use it quite often, does affect and impact these stats, like innings pitched from starters. The White Sox are dead last in the majors. Well, if you're doing the opener as many times as they have, 312 innings. But I think what's more telling is probably the ERA from the starting staff, where the White Sox ranked 24th at 4.62. It's just not good enough.
Yeah.
And there are reinforcements coming. Noah Schultz should be back soon. He's in his rehab right now in Charlotte as we tape this, so he should be back soon. I would expect Shane Smith to be a part of the second half. I would expect Tanner McDougal to be part of the second half. They have arms. They're all young and unknown. And to be in a pennant race that you just talked about with the big dogs, teams that are going to be going for it in August and September, you're going to have like Sonny Gray. I brought up his name a couple of weeks ago, or the last week or two here on this podcast. I want a guy, like if the White Sox are going into Yankee Stadium in Game 1, that he's been there, done that.
And he keeps really big hitters off balance too.
And I'm not saying Sonny Gray's a Hall of Famer by any means, but he's a 35-year-old vet who pitches in the AL East as we speak.
He's very good.
So, like, I'm just talking about a guy who could take some of that first-time jitters, first-time pressure off, and not just that, like, be good in the second half to hold off the Cleveland Guardians, who the good thing for the White Sox is, like Cleveland will be creative, but in terms of being a heavy buyer, never been Cleveland's, mantra, never been their forte.
Yeah, let's not forget though, too. It's like, yes, we're focused on the 2026 Chicago White Sox. There's going to be a big thing happening here. I think it was July 13th.
Yep.
As the trade deadline approaches, there's this thing called the 2026 Major League Draft, and the White Sox have the first pick. And I think that does make a difference, right? Like, yes, you want to be focused on this year, but that's a huge piece to this. And I'm sure there's some internal conflict with who they're going to take. And I don't want to go off on a tangent here, but I think that because Rock Chalowski is probably the number 1 pick, but because of lack of production at the catching position, they could consider Yvonne Lackey. I think that takes up a lot of headspace as we go down the stretch here.
Yeah, I mean, the draft is something, and by the way, breaking news here, I will be covering the draft in Philadelphia. So that
hold
should
on,
be,
shoot.
that should be,
I'm not getting a sig in here.
I
still didn't get an invite for that.
that's,
So
you'll be very much a part of our draft
hold
coverage.
on, I'm not getting
Whether or not you've been told or not, you will very much be a part of our draft coverage. But you were talking about like holding off the Yankees, the Braves, and the guys who are going to be part of trade deadlines. Here's where I'll pivot and say the White Sox might have the best possible package to put together to acquire any one of the guys being shopped at the deadline.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, and I think the statement is more than a question, we know they're not sacrificing Brady Montgomery, Noah Schultz,
Colson.
Montgomery. Yeah. But I'm talking specifically when you look at their current prospect rankings. They have 5 of the top 50, 2 of which are Brady Montgomery at 21, and I think Noah Schultz is 27.
What do you think? Do you think Hagen Smith's available?
I think Hagen Smith's available. Here's the negative.
I believe so too.
Here's the negative. He's out a month.
Mm-hmm.
He's out a month with shoulder impingement, right? Shut him down for 2 weeks, and then he's going to need 2 more weeks to ramp back up. Not saying he's untradeable, but it is a red flag.
It's a hindrance.
It's a red flag. I would be willing to trade a Hagen Smith. Caleb Bonham. The MLB Pipeline just redid their rankings. Where do you think Caleb Bonham ranks?
In all of Major League Baseball?
All of Major League rankings, like prospect rankings.
I would say top 20.
He's 13th.
Yeah, he's good.
If you're trading Caleb Bonham, you are getting top of the line, absolute stud.
Yeah.
And if you don't think that's true, folks, how many teams lined up and trade a top 15 prospect at the deadline?
No, and I remember when I was playing, I remember specifically reading Kenny Williams made it a point, but as Ryan Sweeney and I were coming up through the minor leagues, they were saying like, hey, if anybody's on the list, BA and Ryan Sweeney, like they're not available. Now, if they would offer it up like a CC Sabathia type,
I think those things have changed. Like, I don't know if there's untouchables anymore. Like,
well, there's no guarantees. I mean, Hagen Smith is great, right? Noah Schultz is great. Brady Montgomery is great. But if you can go get a frontline starter that can help you win a World Series, and you got a guy that's a question mark, you never know, man.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, let's go through some of these names. I mean, Tarek Skubal, I think it's fair to say the Sox are out on Tarek Skubal. Now, do you call about Tarek Skubal? It's malpractice if you don't.
Yeah.
But in the division for a team that had a record payroll, now they're going to sit there and sell at the deadline to the division.
It's tough.
White Sox, I think there's a tax there.
Yeah.
Now, and the White Sox would have to, if you're trading for Tarek Skubal, you're going to have to pay the penance 5 straight years of watching some guy beat your ass. Hopefully not, but like some guy you trade, you have to be willing that Caleb Bonham is going to hit 30 homers against you in the years to come. I just don't see that as being realistic. Joe Ryan, to me, is in a similar similar spot. He is exactly who the White Sox need. The Minnesota Twins would be trading him. He does have a year of control after 2026. What 2027 looks like, we don't know. Are you willing to give up a Hagen Smith and lesser prospect for Joe Ryan or Caleb Bonham and Tanner McDougal for Joe Ryan?
I think I would. And, there's this name. And again, I haven't followed this guy. Shame on me for not doing my homework in a while. But like the pitcher I think about, and maybe not in his prime, but when he's having maybe a mediocre year, is like a Logan Webb. Like,
oh my God, that's a stud.
But I look at him and I'm like, hey, like you want to go put a package together and ensure that you're going to get into the playoffs, you go get a guy like Logan Webb who's got nasty stuff. He's done it before, veteran, and he can come and help you. I mean, he probably takes over as a number 1 or 2.
Oh, dude, he was 4th in the Cy Young last year, 6th in the Cy Young the year before that, 2nd in the Cy Young the year before that. He's 100% your number 1.
No, but I believe that guy, a guy like him is available. But that type of caliber, that guy that will ensure you get to the playoffs and maybe make a run will cost you 2 huge prospects. That'll cost you Hagen Smith and your boy Bond.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
If you're telling me Logan Webb is signed through 2028 at a very cost-controlled
$73 million a year.
No. He's making 12 this year, 23 next year, 23 and 27 and 24 and 28.
You know what? That just to keep with tradition, as we put a bow on this thing later in the podcast, I'm going to reach out to Chris Getz and be like, may I be so bold to request a Logan Webb in the trade and dump whoever you have.
So the question is, and this is where the savviness of this time of year can be fun. You're calling about Robbie Ray, right? And saying,
Get
hang on,
out of here.
you're calling about Robbie Ray, but it leads to a conversation about Logan Webb.
I like it.
And can you keep that? Like, because to me, if you were going to trade for Logan Webb and it's going to cost you a Bonham and a Smith, which like that trade to me gets it done. I think the Giants would be foolish at where they are in their organization right now.
Is that not a win-win for both organizations?
You're trading the number 13 and the number 24. I have to look the number top 25, top 30s.
Yeah.
Right. To get Logan Webb, and you're probably giving a super flyer down the line too. You probably are.
Yeah.
To get Logan Webb right now for this team, and you're controlled in the coming years when you expect to be the division champion or going for division titles for 3 straight years, not knowing what 27 is. The beautiful thing is he signed through 28. He's had 3 straight years of 200 innings, Logan Webb.
And he's durable, but I'm going to tell you right now, he's one of those guys, remember we talk about it all the time, like righty or lefty, what is like an uncomfortable at bat? That guy right there is the reason why I'm a career 220-something hitter. You throw 95 with a slider, I like my chances. You sink it, cut it, curve it, change it, and just fill the zone up. Those guys are a nightmare for right-handed hitters.
All right, so the Giants, according to The Athletic, are treating Logan Webb as completely off limits in trade discussions.
Is that right?
I find that bullshit. Why is that information public?
Is that from Buster Posey? I highly doubt it.
That's from The Athletic.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, that's the type of name that's going to require trading those type of names. Other than that, you're looking at we talked about some of these other names, but you're looking at Jose Soriano, Reed Detmers.
I like Reed Detmers a lot.
Reed Detmers has a couple of years of control, 2 more years.
What's he with Anaheim?
He's with Anaheim. Sure. He has 2 more years after 2026. That's going to cost you a big prospect.
That might cost you the same package. I mean, that might get that. It's going to cost you 2 prospects. You're not going to get
no, it is.
It's going to cost you 2. It might not be Hagen Smith, but it might be a Caleb Bonham and one other dude in the top.
I mean, there's Billy Carlson's another first round draft pick. Jacob Gonzalez has shown signs since being up here. It's a first round pick.
I like that kid a lot.
I'm just telling you, the White Sox have done a really good job of bringing guys up and seeing, like plugging in them, playing them. Jacob Gonzalez has become more attractive because he's hung around at the major league level and moved to first base. Like we saw.
And he could pick it at short.
We saw
he's really good.
Yeah, and he's played first base.
Yeah.
Like we saw the snowball effect of what a bad inning can look like. Jacob Gonzalez doesn't cover first base on what should have been a routine out to Chase Mydroff in New York in the opener, and then the snowball just happened. It became an avalanche for Davis Martin in that inning, and the game got out of reach. This is a kid playing out of position, but his bat's too valuable not to play.
I mean, you look at that stretch he had in Charlotte, where I think when he got called up, he was 8 for 8 with 4 homers. That doesn't happen by accident. I mean, what do you have? 18 homers before he got called up? 19. That's incredible. I mean, he's on pace for 45 home runs in the minor leagues, which I have not seen that since Ryan Howard. When in 05, I was sitting there in center field going, "What the hell is this guy doing?"
So like Jacob Gonzalez could be like right now is an organizational win because he had a couple of years, and this year what they do, shipped him back. They reinvented his swing in the offseason, and boom, they put him in the lab. And now he looks like a first-round success story.
Yeah.
And he's had success at the major league level. Let me give you another name that the White Sox could float in trade packages. Edgar Carroll. What are your thoughts on that name? Because I'm going to tell you, people are going to go, why would a team take Edgar Carroll? He's hitting 190. Let me tell you why they did take Edgar Carroll. He's 22 years old, and he was a top 50 prospect a flipping year ago.
Yeah. I mean, yes, a couple of tweaks of the play, and he's a switch hitter.
Well, and like you have Kyle Teal, you're going to get back here, and
maybe
you're going to get. He homered on the first pitch he saw.
Listen, I'm rooting for him, but can we get that kid healthy?
Let's get him healthy. But I'm just saying, you're a 23-year-old Edgar Carroll, by the way. You have a catcher at a premium position that a lot of teams are dying to have a guy. He has been not a good offensive player this year, but I'm just saying. Based off of prospect, think about Miguel Vargas a couple of years ago in LA, right? Top 50 prospect, didn't have the room for him because he's playing for the Dodgers who are going for a World Series. And look at how that thing is matured. The maturation of Miguel Vargas, he's going to be an all-star in 2026. Depending on the type of pitcher you're getting, could you hold on to a Hagen Smith or a Caleb Bonham if you're including Hagen Smith, Edgar Carroll, and Jacob Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not trying to trade off the Major League roster. I don't like that idea. But I think Edgar Caro is kind of like prospect-like in this type of deal.
All this thing it's intertwined, right? I think especially because the White Sox have the first pick. If the White Sox are considering moving Edgar Caro in a package for a pitcher, they absolutely will have Von Lackey in that discussion as the number one pick. Is if you're dumping a major league catcher, you have to consider they probably aren't going to trade for one if they have the number one pick. And Von Lackey, other than Rock Chalowski, is the most MLB ready hitter in that draft. And so it'll be really interesting to see what they do. I know you like Rock Chalowski at 1, so do I. But as I've watched the College World Series, I
like Grady Emerson too.
Yeah,
I'm not opposed.
But as I watch things go deep or progress into the postseason, you start to watch like how some of Von Lackey's teammates talk about him and his coaches and what you hear from scouts, and you're like, man, this guy is more major league ready than I thought. And so the White Sox have a really good problem on their hands.
The Von Lackey thing, because Jay Hood called that game. UIC played Georgia Tech in the College World Series, the leading up to the College World Series. And he hit a home run, I guess, like 2 fields over. That's still going. And he said he doesn't look like a catcher. Now he projects as a major league catcher. I don't know. I guess we're just going to wait and see. It seems like it's between those 3 names. And Von Lackey's been, like, the last few mock drafts, his name is going 1-1. So I know that the Athletic Keith Law has got to go number 1 of the White Sox. I guess my question to you is, somebody who's been watching a lot of college baseball, do stuff for Big Ten Network, how much does the White Sox having the number 1 overall pick impact their ability to add starting pitching or bullpen help? We can roll this Chapman type or bullpen help to this 2026 White Sox.
I mean, it's, again, if the White Sox had the 15th pick, like when I got drafted, I think they're like, hey, here's the 5 guys that they'll probably be there. We like these 3 the most. Mm-hmm. Man, like having the 1-1 pick is a huge responsibility because, yes, the fans are excited, but if you miss, we got problems. And so I think Chris gets, obviously they have a process in place. I know Mike Shirley has got his team and they're really grinding it out. I mean, a month will go by pretty quick. I think the draft is like 25 days away. So I know that staff is grinding out like the why nots. I think right now, instead of the whys, or they're hashing out the why not draft this guy first. So good problem to have, but I think it could be a major distraction come playoff push or trade deadline time, because you're going to have to figure out who you're willing to get rid of.
Okay, another question for you. So
the White Sox have realistic. Colson is a staple in the lineup already, but the White Sox have 3 shortstops, like 3 number 1 pick shortstops in them that are either in the minor leagues. Like they got Billy Carlson, they got Jacob Gonzalez, and they have Chase
Monimer, the shortstop, that moved to third base,
and then they have Colson. So I mean, they have 4 elite guys. Yeah, one being a major league.
But that's a great position to have elite guys at.
Yes,
correct. It's not like first base.
So it's catcher.
All right, so this is another question. I want to table the Colson Montgomery, because I have some questions for you about Colson. I mean, what a 40 homers in 140 games. Like, we're going to get into that here in a second. But as we record this, the White Sox have the 3rd best record in the American League. The 3rd best. Okay, that's after the thumping in New York. The Yankees are 1, the Rays are 2, and it's the White Sox. I'm going to go through these teams real quick, and you tell me, other than the Yankees, right now as currently constructed, do you fear the Tampa Bay Rays?
I think the White Sox should fear Tampa Bay Rays because they're always tough. Organizationally, I think like they present a problem, but I like the White Sox getting into that spot we talked about earlier in the year. I don't fear them falling off the cliff so far that they don't get in that wild card game, to say the least. But it would definitely be more of a benefit to win the AL Central.
Agreed. To get that bye immediately into, because right now where the AL West is, they're behind. So I'm going to give me.
You do not want to play Tampa in that playing game.
Correct. You're trying to avoid the wild card round altogether. We know the Yankees are the class. Like, they've shown that they're the class, even against the White Sox. But these other teams, it's just, we're going to go rapid fire here. Okay. Yay or nay? Do you knowing what this White Sox roster looks like before the trade deadline right now? Yay or nay? Like, you fear these teams? Cleveland?
Yes.
Seattle?
No.
Toronto?
No.
A's?
No.
Texas?
Yes.
Baltimore?
No.
Twins?
No.
Astros?
Always, yes, because there's just like you never know what those guys.
They're 12 games out. They're 2 games out of the wild card.
Yeah,
Red Sox.
Yes. They're built to win, and they will make moves if they have
Tigers.
to. No.
Kansas City.
No.
Angels.
No.
Okay, so most of that's nay.
Yeah.
Most of it's nay, and some of the teams that you said yes to, the Astros and the Red Sox, they are going to sell. I can tell you right now the Red Sox are going to sell.
But even if let's just say they do sell, but as long as they're hovering right there, it's still tough to go into to Boston or go play one of those guys in a playing game. It's really tough.
All right, so the reason I did that with you is because going back to the American League sucks this year. Not the White Sox fault. Okay. Yeah. And so they've been able to rise above it all and be one of the better teams in the American League. Knowing that 2027 is not promised at all as the season, and looking at where the White Sox are, do you believe that Chris Getz and company look at this season as, well, shit, not only are we early, we don't know what next year is. Not that you're willing to sacrifice those huge names, but are you more inclined to make a trade that would wake people up around the league more so, knowing that the American League is what it is, and that 2027's labor uncertainty is staring you in the face?
With the uncertainty of 2027 and the fact that as someone who played this game for a fairly decent amount of time, there are zero guarantees that the White Sox will be this good in 27. They'll be this good in 28, 29, whatever you want to call it. As we sit here right now, they are leading the AL Central. They're the third best team in the American League. There are no guarantees this will ever happen as long as Chris Getz is still the GM. There's no guarantees. You got to hit the gas. You don't sell the organization, the farm system, but you certainly trade 2 blue chip prospects to go get a Logan Webb or an impact pitcher, because there's no guarantees you're going to be able to ever make a run again. You can have the best draft picks you want ever. You can have all your guys playing on the same team. Chase Mydraft could play crappy next year. Munetaka Murakami could be hurt. Kyle Teo might be hurt again. Colson Montgomery may go through a dip. Like Davis Martin could go down. Shane Smith could never come back to the big leagues. You just never know.
A lot of ifs, ands, and buts.
Sure.
But I mean, just like nothing's promised.
I'm going all in this year. If I'm Chris Getz, I would rather go up to Jerry and go to the organization and say, hey, we had a shot and I took it, because there's no guarantees. I mean, look at Chris Getz was with Kansas City Royals when they won the World Series in 16 or 15, excuse me. I mean, they've been highly competitive, but guess what? See you later.
Yeah.
It's been 10 years, right? Like, there's no guarantees, man. Like, you got to strike while the iron's hot. Look at the Cubs, 2016. They're going to win 3 World Series. They never went back.
I know.
It's like there's no guarantee.
Even the 05 White Sox, like 96 was a better, more dynamic
2006,
roster.
we were built to win. It's so
but the
tough.
pitching was dead. The pitching wasn't there. The offense was. And because you had 2 teams in your division that were just
Cleveland was good.
95 and 96 wins. Cleveland and Minnesota, 95 and 96 wins. You didn't have that third wild card yet. And then what happened? 07, 99 losses. Yeah. And then 08 was the blackout.
And in my defense, they did send me down after the first month in 07. Could have avoided that.
You're not to blame for everything.
Yeah.
You mentioned Colson. So before we move on to Colson and wrap things up, you do expect the White Sox to acquire at least how many pitchers?
I expect them to at least acquire 1, but
me too.
But I'm saying a frontline starter. I'm saying a frontline starter.
Frontline for you is that 1, 2,
Logan
and 3?
A Logan Webb.
I think they're going big.
I'm going right here. Just hold on, just because we like to do it real time. Hum you Getzy, BA and Guff here. Hey, we're talking on the podcast live. Don't worry.
We're not live.
We're not live, but we're in the middle of filming this thing. But we're talking about who we would like you to pick up at the trade deadline, and my pick was Logan Webb.
Yep.
Dude, get it done.
So
I think you got to give up. We were talking, you got to give up Hagen Smith and Bonham. Okay, see ya.
I mean, this is real things that happen. So you're not getting this from any other podcast.
Well, we'll keep it in real time here. I sent it. We'll see when he listens.
I expect the White Sox to acquire 2 pitchers. That might include a bullpen. But they definitely have to go and get a starter. Plenty more on that to come, since as we take this, we're about 6 weeks from the trade deadline. Like you said, there's a Major League Baseball draft to happen.
That's 4.
That'll be interesting to see if the White Sox have not made a move by the draft. It'll be interesting to see where they lean and if it impacts how they think about acquiring pitchers. I actually don't think that it's going to. Colson Montgomery on Wednesday night in New York became the fastest White Sox ever to hit 40 home runs. I want that to sink in.
Balls are juiced.
The fastest White Sox ever. Think about the names that have played here.
Frank,
PK. Well, Frank Abreu. I mean, go up and down the list here. I'm talking about guys
Jermaine in his prime,
but guys who started with the White Sox.
Gotcha.
40 quickest to 40 career home runs. How about this one? Tied for the 6th fastest player ever to hit 40. Here they are. You want this name? You want this list?
I mean, yeah, I know. I can imagine where it's going.
Rudy York. You're a big fan of Rudy.
Rogers Hornsby's on there.
No. Mark McGuire, Gary Sanchez, shockingly, Aaron Judge, Cody Bellinger, Pete Alonso, Colson Montgomery.
Wow, I remember. Hey, you know what? Speaking of Cody Bellinger, Colson Montgomery reminds me the most of that run he made. Remember when we got called up with the Dodgers? I mean, it was homer, like, you know, maybe like double, homer. It was like every other game. It seemed like he was hitting a home run, and then think about it. You have to hit a home run every third day to reach that feat.
So 99 RBIs, 40 homers in his first 140 career games. Aaron Judge and Colson Montgomery, both with 40 home runs in their first 140 career games.
That's
Aaron Judge and Colson Montgomery. And I put a poll out on Twitter on Wednesday night because I'm curious, because we've been talking a lot about the All-Star case for Davis Martin, which I still believe is a lock. I do. I think you'd have to have like a catastrophic collapse there. I think Davis Martin's going to the All-Star game. I think Miguel Vargas could start the All-Star game outside of the fan vote, but it might be Candelario or Ken or whatever.
It matters.
Yeah. Junior Candelero. But Miguel Vargas is going, and I think Munetaka Murakami is going to the All-Star game. But then I was like, dude, with this guy's got 19 bombs, and with this 6th fastest ever. And then I got one more stat for you because you know him.
Is Colson on the cusp here? Because
what I'm asking is he an All-Star this year?
He is, but here's the problem. And it sucks because there's just a negative connotation. I do the same thing. It's by default. That's ridiculous. He's got tremendous power. He is playing the all-star caliber. Now, the old heads, the guys like me from my generation, they're going to go, well, he's hitting 215 or whatever it is. And it's just so hard to slap an all-star tag on someone when they're not hitting at least 250. If you're hitting 250,
dude, you gotta let that go.
I know, but I'm coming around. But it's not 230. It's like 217 or whatever the case may be. And it's really tough to slap an all-star tag on that.
I don't think so. I actually think he's going. I
want him to.
So
I want him to.
With the offense is one thing. These are outs above average in Major League Baseball, not the position. Bobby Witt,
line drives,
ready?
Outs or something?
No, this is like playing at an above average, like your ability to turn base hits into outs and just outs above average, right? Ball hitting the gap. Oh, what a play by Colson. Here are your guys. Okay. In the majors, not at position. Bobby Witt Jr. 1, PCA 2, JJ Weatherholt 3, Colson Montgomery 4.
Imagine a PCA when they're giving away so many too.
Drink that. Touche. Colson Montgomery, top defensive player in the game. And offensively, no shortstop has more power.
And not to mention, look at when Murakami's gone down. He's picked up the slack.
Dude, I'm starting to think that the White Sox could have 4. Now, that means someone gets
4 what? Oh, yeah.
4.
I was thinking they might have 4 guys hit 30 homers.
Oh,
that's what I was thinking.
That's 3. Murakami's a lock. Montgomery's a lock.
Vargas will get there.
Vargas is a lock.
That's 3 for 30. That's pretty damn good.
They haven't had that.
I haven't had that since my day.
Yeah, I was just going to say, since you're playing. So,
well, I think there was ones like 50, 40, 30.
So my advice to you, and I think BA will echo this, is like chill out, okay? Don't worry about what happened in New York. The White Sox, they're right where you want them to be. They're right in the mix for the AL Central Division after withstanding 3 straight series. You know, there's a lot of talk on the north side. Well, they just played the Rockies and the Giants for 12 straight games. You know who the White Sox played for 12 straight games? The Braves, the Dodgers, and the Yankees.
Yeah.
And if they just got through that gauntlet, we did a podcast on how you're going to survive June without Munetaka Murakami. Check. Like, you got to keep doing. I mean, they have a huge series. They do have Detroit over the weekend. Big. But then they start the homestand, which they have had 6 sellouts. And we didn't even talk about the impact of the attendance sessions and what it could do for the deadline. Huge series against Cleveland that come back on the homestand. So
let me tell you something for the fans, though. I'm looking at you guys. Like, in terms of baseball, do you want to win every series? Yes. But if you can go 4-1 on a homestand versus the Yankees, against the Yankees and Dodgers, if you go steal 1 of 3 against the Yankees at the level they're playing at, that's a huge win. You just don't want to leave a series getting skunked.
Yeah.
If you can steal 1 from them and go 2 of 3 in Detroit, that's a huge win. You go 3 of 3 on the road trip, that's a massive win coming home.
Yeah, and look, like you said, hold serve on the road and then dominate at home. Like, they're one of the best home teams in all of baseball. I never thought we'd be saying this, but in order to have this conversation go into August and September, and hopefully we're having that conversation, we need Chris Getz and company to get on it. I think there's going to be more arms coming. I think there's reinforcements coming. Before we take off, happy Father's Day.
Thanks, pal.
Happy Father's Day.
It's coming.
One of the best, who's got a beautiful daughter who, in case you haven't heard, shares her birthday with
September 3rd, big day around here on the recap.
Oh, man, we're going to have all kinds of – and putting some stuff together to be out in the community with this guy. I think we need to do a podcast. I'm trying to angle one for Cork and Carey.
I'm new.
Oh, yeah. Boy. I don't know if I can take this guy out, though. I don't know if we're ready. I don't know if we're ready. Happy Father's Day, brothers.
Thanks,
appreciate you, love you, and all the best to all of you dads out there. And for those who aren't yet dads, give your dad a call. If you so can be lucky enough and fortunate enough to call your father and break some bread with him on that day, please do it. Just trust me, there's a lot of us out there who cannot do that. And so please take the opportunity to tell your dad you love him. This little PSA brought to you by the White Sox REKAP Podcast. If you don't already subscribe to the recap on YouTube, what are you doing? Join the 250,000 people who have already done so. Click the notification bell so when we drop a podcast, when Hoodie comes back, that we're all here together, you find out, boom, here's a new podcast. I better get on it. I better listen to it. Dan Plesac from MLB Network, friend of the program. He's in New York with the Chicago White Sox. He'll be on the podcast next week. We had to move that because Braden Montgomery got called up, and then the White Sox went on a bender to get all the way back into a good one. For Brian Anderson, BA, Brian McGuffey, I'm Guff. Thank you for watching this edition of the White Sox Recap Podcast on YouTube. If you're listening on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to audio form podcasts, we appreciate you as well. Go Sox. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you next time on the White Sox Recap Podcast.